exactly 2 a.m. What's a better time to make a video? I'm gonna speak in this exact tone throughout the entire segment. Because here's the thing, my family's home and they don't like being woken up at 1 a.m. by me. So I'm gonna speak very calmly, and I'm gonna have nothing on the screen. You guys can just tab off. Honestly, I want this video to feel exactly how it's being made, like you're being on a watch list. So I have a very weird relationship with alternate universes, and by that I mean like the ones you make, like Hilda and stuff. I don't feel like it's a far-fetched assumption for anyone to make that I'm a Hilda fan. But here's the thing, I'm not a fan for the specific reason you may think I am, because I barely watch the series and I barely look up in the community. I like to write it, write using the characters and the universe. Partially because for some reason Hilda just gets a connection. For some reason it is very special to me. It's in one cartoon, but for some reason the style and etc. just gets a hold. So I'm gonna go over. By the way, I need to say this because I recorded the speed paint before deciding the actual theme of this video. So yeah, the speed paint's not completely related. It's just a drawing I thought it cool, and I'll probably use in the future. So I'm gonna go over what I feel like is my most prominent AU idea that I had. There are no documentations of this part of this video, and I'm glad, because considering how young I was when I tried to put this into action, it would have been a mess. So guess I'll tab off this video, look away, and again I want to get this feeling for both on a watch list. I'm currently wearing headphones so you can get the audio slightly better than my laptop microphone. So if this video just suddenly gets cut, it's because I was caught and I didn't hear anything coming. Regardless, I didn't have a name for this specific alternate version. I'm gonna call it AU because that's the same thing anyone says. I'm very sleep deprived, okay? I'll just ignore my very multiple stumbles. And in this one, it's slightly different from the original series, but it holds a lot of the elements that I liked a lot. Because here's the thing, I feel like the show's great, but I liked more the original setting with the house in the middle of nowhere. So in this particular version, I wrote so that Hilda stays in a very desolate house, but it's a weird neighborhood. Like, I can't think of any concrete examples, but think of a very sparse neighborhood. So we have Hilda's house, a bit to the north you had David's, and a bit more to the south you have more commercial zone, where most of the stuff happens. And this time the main cast is a bit more episodic, not because I don't like the kind of overall arcing narrative that Hilda has in the progression, but for some reason it just kind of stuck out to me as something that would work great in a episodic sense, not just non-continuous, but like Adventure Time, where each is a very unique self-contained story. Yes, I like Adventure Time, even though, fun fact, I never really watched it because as a kid I was scared. I was scared of the overall designs. For some reason, a lot of the scenes just came out as fucking body horror to me. So yeah. So what starts this AU It's not actually anything great. Like it doesn't have a starting point. You start at the stars at the status quo. Most of the character dynamics are slightly changed, though their personalities are preserved. Except, of course, for what I would argue is my favorite character, and I'm not even gonna deny it, which is Raven. For some reason, I just like him. I cannot point specific reason out, but I like him, so I made him a part of the main cast because I thought he deserved a bit more of time in the spotlight. And in this, he's a slightly changed. He still got this initial personality, but one thing I noted in the original show, at least, is that when you look past the actions he does, some of it seems like a scumbag doings, which again I don't mind. I just find it odd that it was like changed. So for first, at the start, in the Blizzard episode, I don't remember the original name, I'm very sorry, but in the Blizzard episode, he just kind of insists on staying to finish his drink and just eats, even with the rightfully overwhelming concern of the whole town getting basically bombarded by a snowstorm. And later on, he just refuses to do even the slightest of actions. Like he could talk, he could no, he quite passively aggressively tells Hilda to do her part, and I like that. So I made that more prominent. Basically, he's like a double-edged knife in this thing. So again, preserve the main character dynamics. Hilda and Twig are regular pals, and Evolver they kind of go on these adventures around the quote-unquote neighborhood. Can't even call it neighborhood because it's sparse. So just around the terrain in general. The magic stuff is more accentuated on this version, and I won't go into details because honestly, if you guys want, I'll just make a more detailed one, but I really doubt it because that's not my usual content. Regardless, what happened is that basically Raven is a big exchange, so I'll focus on him. He's a double-edged knife. He's very nice and keeps his overall dynamic of, hey, I know certain stuff and I kinda expose stuff to that. Regardless, he keeps that, but he's also more willing to, I won't say betray, but to override his morals in order for survival, let's say. Like if, let's say, I'll put a very example, but it was actually something I planned. Let's say if the group, aka Hilda, David, and Frida, are in this extremely dangerous situation that requires them to work together, but he can get an advantage by kinda not being so dependent and leaving them. That will be a serious consideration he constantly struggles with across the short story. Like if they are somewhat trapped in a, let's say, a tunnel system. I don't remember exactly the situation. Let's say they're trapped in a tunnel system and there are multiple entrances at the sky, and he kind of sees that, but he knows that if he points out the entrances are too small for a human to pass, so he can just go through. So throughout the story, he has this constant struggle where he knows he leaves, he'll just go home and probably do nothing, and he wants to do it a lot, but he also wants to stay and help because in the solar system they're like being hunted or something. So it's this constant struggle, and he's a lot more willing to do that. His morals are prominent. I would say like he's not evil, but he's the kind of guy that, well, he would think twice. He wouldn't be particularly remorseful of, let's say, telling the teacher you were eating in class. He's that one guy, like he doesn't outright do it, but if he gets some bonus points for it, he'll definitely bet all your friendship in that. Another character dynamic that changes is because Victoria is kind of underused. So I made her a kind of episodic nature villain. Like she doesn't lose her quote unquote villainy, but she does become a bit more prominent. Her experiments become a bit more of a cause in the show, etc. And she regularly puts people in danger, as in the show. Not by such an extreme, because I feel like the higher the stakes, the more clear it gets that the bad guy can't win. So there are lower stakes. Like instead of a portal that can eat the city up. It's something shorter, like I'll try to think of an example here, but basically shorter stakes. She can't kill the city, but she does poses a slight threat that Hilda has to overcome, and she, comes back because it's an episodic show, and we need a somewhat reliable antagonist, even if she isn't that strong of an antagonist. I also plan on delving more into comedy than actually story and stuff. So think Hilda, but with a sprinkle of a sitcom in the action. And surprisingly, that's all I have. I'm kind of sad. This video was kind of disappointing, wasn't it? I'm sorry. Regardless, that's it. Just I don't know. Watch the other videos. I'll try to do more of those. So if you're watching those in the future, um, please dislike this one. It will be probably really bad. And goodbye.